Hello students. So today is 24 September. This is the second video of your English textbook. You can open page number 30, lesson number 3, planning a surprise. So we'll be doing only the reading of the chapter. So we'll not do warm up exercises, warm up discussion today, and we'll directly move to the reading of the chapter. Student, this book is there in the library we have procured just now. Reading. This is an extract from Louis May Alcott's famous novel Little Women. It recounts the experiences of the March sisters who are forced to live within constrained means. Their father is away at war, and their mother is the one who looks after them. The sisters are loving, caring, but also given to fits of rebelliousness now and then. Each of the girls is different, and though they have the usual childish squabbles, they have a strong sense of responsibility and find comfort and joy in being together. The four sisters sat knitting away in the twilight, while the December snow fell quietly without the fire crackled cheerfully within. It was a comfortable room, though the carpet was faded and the furniture very plain, for a good picture or two hung on the walls. Books filled with the recesses, chrysanthemums and Christmas roses bloomed in the windows, and a pleasant atmosphere of the home peace pervaded it. Margaret, the eldest of the four, was 16 and very pretty, with large eyes, plenty of soft brown hair, and beautiful hands, of which she was rather vain. 15-year-old Jo was very tall, thin, and brown, and reminded one of a colt, for she never seemed to know what to do with her long limbs, which were very much in her way. She had a decided mouth, a comical nose, and a sharp grey eyes which appeared to see everything and were by turns fierce, funny, or thoughtful. Her long, thick hair was her one beauty, but it was usually bundled into a net to be out of her way. Students, you also have to practice reading like this. Reading has to be always important. Round shoulders had Jo, big hands and feet, and a flyaway took look to her clothes and the uncomfortable appearance of a girl who was rapidly shooting up into a woman and didn't like it. Elizabeth, or Beth, as everyone called her, was a rosy, smooth-haired, bright-eyed girl of 13 with a shy manner, a timid voice, and a peaceful expression which was seldom disturbed. Her father called her Little Miss Tranquility, and the name suited her excellently, for she seemed to live in a happy world of her own, only venturing out to meet the few whom she trusted and loved. Emmy, though the youngest, was the most important person in her own opinion at least. A lovely maiden with blue eyes and yellow hair curling on her shoulders, pale and slender, and always carrying herself like a young lady mindful of her manners. The clock the clock struck 6, and having swept the hearth, Beth put a pair of slippers down to warm. Somehow the sight of the old shoes had a good effect upon the girls, for mother was coming, and everyone brightened to welcome her. Meg stopped lecturing and lighted the lamp. Amy got out of the easy chair without being asked, and Jo forgot how tired she was as she sat up to hold the slippers nearer to the blaze. They are quite worn out. Mommy must have a new pair. I thought I would get her some with my dollar, said Beth. No, I shall, cried Amy. I am the oldest. I am the oldest, began Meg, but Jo cut in with a decided, I am the man of the family now. Papa is away, and I shall provide the slippers, for he told me to take special care of mother while he was gone. I'll tell you, I'll tell you what you'll do, said Beth. Let us each get her something for Christmas and not get anything for ourselves. That's like you, dear. What will we get? Exclaimed Joe. Everyone thought soberly for a minute, then Meg announced, as if the idea was suggested by the sight of her own pretty hands, I shall give her a nice pair of gloves. Wait, I shall give her a nice pair of gloves. Army shoes best to be had, cried Joe. Some handkerchiefs all hemmed, said Beth. I'll get a little bottle of cologne. She likes it and won't cost too much. I'll have some left to buy my pencils, added Emmy. How will we give the things? Asked Meg. Put them on the table and bring her in and see her open the bundles. Don't you remember what we used to do on our birthdays? Answered Joe. I used to be so frightened when it was my turn to sit in the chair with the crown on and see you all coming marching around to give the presents with a kiss. I liked the things and the kisses, but it was dreadful to have you sit looking at me while I opened the bundles, said Beth, who was toasting her face and the bread for tea at the same time. Let Mommy think we are getting things for ourselves and then surprise her. Let Mommy think we are getting things for ourselves and then surprise her. We must go shopping tomorrow afternoon. Meg, there is so much to do about the play for Christmas night, said Joe, marching up and down with her hands behind her back and her nose in the air. I don't mean to act any more after this time. I am getting too old for such things, observed Meg, who was as much a child as ever about dressing up frolics. You won't stop, I know, as long you can trail round in a white gown with your hair down and wear gold paper jewelry. You are the best actress we have got, and there will be end of everything if you quit the boards, said Joe. We ought to rehearse tonight. Come here, Amy, and we do the fainting scene so you are as stiff as a poker in that. I don't see how you can write and act such splendid things, Joe. You are a regular Shakespeare, exclaimed Beth, who firmly believed that her sisters were gifted with wonderful genius in all things. Pleased by her sister's compliment, Joe got ready to play the part from her favorite play. Is that a dagger that I see before me? She muttered, rolling her eyes and clutching at the air she had seen a famous tragedian do. No, if it's the toasting fork with mother's shoe on it instead of the bread. Beth stage struck, cried Meg, and the rehearsal ended in a general burst of laughter. Glad to find you merry girls, said a cheery, this is little blurred, you can read from the textbook. Glad to find you so merry, my girls, said a cheery voice at the door, and actors and audience turned to welcome a tall motherly lady with a can I help you look about her, which was truly delightful. She was not elegantly dressed, but a noble looking woman, and the girls thought the grey cloak and unfashionable bonnet covered the most splendid mother in the world. So we have done till page number 32. Half page reading of the chapter is done. In the next video, we'll be doing the remaining reading of the chapter. I want everyone to read the chapter. Okay? So today you'll be reading. Thank you.